What the heck is up, Raider Nation? It's your boy Mikey Raider coming to you from my hallway at 4:30 a.m. Why? Because I'm a vampire. I live like a vampire. I stay up all night and sleep all day. I'm a raider. And I'm what is known as the Midnight Raider. And for many of you that don't know what that is, it's because I'm always awake at night. And I like to do my Raider type things. I should be Raider Vampire, but yeah, I'm Midnight Raider. I'm Midnight Mikey Raider. Midnight Raider is my persona that tells the truth from my perspective. Tells it like it is. No holds barred. And that's what we're going to do on today's video. But first, my Raider Nation friends and family, please hit that thumbs up, that like, that subscribe button. Consider becoming a member of this channel for early and exclusive content and future Raiders Roundtables. I know I keep saying that, but they're coming. They're coming. Where you could be on the Raiders Roundtable each and every Friday night or Saturday night. I should probably do one for the Super Bowl this week. So there it is. Become a member of the channel. Also, hit the bell for notifications when and if I go live. That's one way you guys can support me, and hopefully I've earned your support through entertainment, talking, whatever it may be. That being said, what are we going to talk about on today's video? The Raiders. What's going on in Raiderville? In Raiderland, in Raider lore, in Raider history? Well, we got the 49ers and the Chiefs on our newly built home field stadium playing in the Super Bowl that we should have been in. You know, if that's not pain enough, they put the logos on the field of the Chiefs or the Niners. You know, they changed the locker rooms to the Chiefs logos or the 49ers logos. And the Raider legacy and players have been barred from some of those areas. But in a good news, we heard that the locker room for the Raiders, normally, we thought they changed it to the Chiefs locker room because we saw pictures online. But no, that did not happen. Apparently, they got the UNLV locker room where they changed the logos to the Chiefs and that other stuff. And I guess the visitors are the 49ers. I don't know how that works. Why Chiefs get home field advantage, at least to the UNLV locker room. I don't know. Who's the home team? I do not know. That's something I should have thought about. That's interesting. You guys let me know. Who's the actual home team? Is there a home team? I don't know. But according to the locker room, they got home field or home locker room advantage, the Chiefs did, in the UNLV locker room, not the Raider locker room. Oh, thank goodness. But the Chiefs are training in the Raiders training facility, so they're learning all our training techniques and, you know, peripherals. I don't know if they can get an advantage for next year. I don't know. I hope we film their practice. Did you say that? Did you say that? It's our stadium. They might be filming the Chiefs. Yeah, just a thought I had. But we're not the Patriots, and we're not Josh McDaniels. But the Raiders were back in the day known as trying to gain any advantage you can. So I don't know. You guys let me know. Should we film their practices? I don't know. We're not going to do it. It's just a funny little thing that I thought about. That being said, apparently the 49ers have an issue with their training field. They're training off campus at UNLV, I believe, and they have a problem with the field. Who cares? We're not here to talk about them. But those are the Super Bowl issues that are going on. And the rumor is Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce are going to propose to each other, at the Super Bowl if she can fly back from Japan or Hong Kong or wherever she's at. And if the Chiefs win, there's going to be a big proposal and it'll prove it's a psyop. And, Mr. Pfizer will, get more of his comeuppings, and then maybe he'll retire. I don't know. I don't care. I'm done. Let's go back to the Raiders. What's happening in Raider news? Okay, well, in my opinion, let's just start this off right now. Hopefully you're listening to me. I have no problem with Antonio Pierce writing a letter to the Raider Nation. I loved every minute of it. I loved every word of it. I loved every quote of it. But I did have some questions on the timing of why now and why it's happening and all that. Okay? There's always going to come questions. I am not a hater. I love the letter. It's fantastic, and I'm going to give you some of my favorite quotes in a second. So, first off, here's what happened. Antonio Pierce went to a website or wrote a letter and sent it to I think it's called the Raider Nation Ramble website, and posted a letter to the nation addressing his feelings, his thoughts on the team, about him being a coach, how it's a dream job. And if you guys haven't read the letter, I will hopefully post the link down below for you guys to go out and check it out and read it, and then come back. It's also on my Twitter timeline at Mikey Raider, MikeyRayder, and you can read it there. But Antonio Pierce wrote a letter, and again, I loved every minute of it. Everything is perfect and everything is fine, but I question everything in life, even myself, because I am a train wreck, as many people know. Whether mentally, physically, emotionally, it's all good. So don't take no anger from this, guys. There's no hatred attached. It's just questions. That being said, Antonio Pierce spoke and wrote a letter to the nation. And why is everybody got to write letters nowadays? Like people that unalive other people, they write manifestos. Fans that no longer want to support an NFL team write letters. I'm quitting. I am no longer a fan of this team and that team. I am no longer a fan. They write letters, and they post it publicly. And now we got coaches writing letters of their love and all that for the Raiders. I mean, can't you hold out for a book? But it's just funny to me that everything has to be in letter form nowadays in public. Man, I should write a letter. Basically my vlogs are letters to everybody, letting you know I love you all and how I feel. So these are my letters. But that being said, Antonio Pierce wrote a letter, and it's a very, very beautiful letter explaining his love, his feelings, how he became the coach of the Raiders, and how he's striving to bring back that spirit, that swag, that everything of the Raider lore that he grew up watching, in LA. And again, we've heard all of this, from Antonio Pierce, but it was really nice to see it in letter form and with more context, instead of just the simple quotes of telling reporters, "Say Raiders," and stuff like that. We got more of a context into his belief system and what he told Mark Davis in the interview and stuff like that. And, people thought John Gruden was the quote master. Let's be honest, Antonio Pierce is the quote master as of this moment, because it's all fitting right and feeling right and stuff like that. He also addressed some haters in this letter. People that, I don't need to call them haters, but people that address the cigar situation, on why they're having cigars after a victory and a this and a that. And long story short, he said, Raiders are going to be Raiders. And he's building that mentality, that foundation, that swag. And we're all in it. We're all in it. I love this letter. I felt it. I believed it. And he said, like after they beat the Giants, or before they went to play the Giants, he went on the field talking to his former friends or players in the organization, the owner, and he's like, "Yeah, man, we're gonna kick your butt today." And then they went out and did it. And then he said that they were looking at him differently at the end of the game. Well, that's all good. That's all good. And it did. We saw it on the field what he brought to this team, and what he helped out with. No doubt in my mind. And then I'm trying to remember some of the really amazing quotes that he wrote in there. He's like, "We're gonna be." He goes, "We're not going to be the Raiders. We're going to be the Raiders," in parentheses. And then he said all the quotes and all the right things and the memories, and then his biggest memories are like Bo Jackson tearing down, Brian Bosworth and stuff like that. And guys, why am I blanking? So many good quotes from it. I should have wrote them down, guys. But please check out that letter. And it was very heartfelt, and it felt very Raider oriented, where we only understand the thoughts and the feelings that he has, and that spirit, and like, it was fantastic. I mean, it's everything we are always thinking, for the Raiders. And I really appreciated it. Now to the questions that I have. Well, why now that letter? And why does everything have to come through like PR? That being said, in my opinion, he didn't need to write that. We know all that about him, but it was good to hear. So I'm not going to fault it at any level for that, because it was good to hear and we loved it. And then I just was wondering the timing of it. Like, why is it now? Like right before the Super Bowl? And is it because we lost Cliff Kingsbury in a bad manner, and that angered a lot of Raider Nation? And then they were saying Antonio Pierce is losing, like, the team already, with his decision making. A lot of critique came out after the Kingsbury issue, and then there was a lot of critique about the Chiefs shit and all that in the Super Bowl, in our locker room, invading our house, and this and that. And so there was a lot. Again, there's always a divide in Raider Nation. But so then all of a sudden we get a letter from Antonio Pierce, and it also kicked off Super Bowl week when the letter came out, and it kicked off the press, and now he's on a bunch of talk shows. There's still a lot of interviews I gotta watch, but he's doing the rounds. They call it the media row, the rounds, and he's talking a lot about the team and all that, and it's a lot to send out, in my opinion. Again, it's like, why now? When you need to be focusing on your team and all that. But I think in some ways it was to tell Raider Nation, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. But it's to tell Raider Nation, hey, the Cliff Kingsbury deal didn't work out. I know a lot of you were excited, but let's move on. And this is why I'm going to try to take the situation off of that bad stuff, and let's point it back toward the Raider lore, the legacy, and let's get everybody feeling some sort of way. While the Chiefs are in our house, while we're not in the Super Bowl, but it's at our location, and we had a couple of issues that happened with Cliff Kingsbury, and some things are on the line, whether it be Devontae Adams or Josh Jacobs in the rumor mill and stuff like that. And Max Crosby, I know he was voted to the Pro Bowl, but he didn't play because, he had the surgery. But A.J. Cole played, and the Pro Bowl, was it good? Was it bad? I don't know. I mean, they had the flag football. It was enjoyable, some of the events, but I don't know if the Pro Bowl will ever really be a Pro Bowl. But back to Antonio Pierce. So the timing of it, I just didn't feel it was necessary. But maybe they did. Maybe they did. And again, why do we always have to write letters? We know his intentions. And sometimes they'll say, just continue to do it on the field. Why does every story possibly need to be made public about your love for the Raiders? Because we already know. But I understand what he's doing. Again, you have to build the Raiders through the media, unfortunately. But the true fans, we all know that this is how Antonio Pierce feels and goes about his business. But the Raiders typically hate the media, in my opinion, their legacy, and they don't want to be a part of it. And they don't want to really be a part of the NFL, the referees, and we're the outcasts, we're the outlaws, we're the renegades, we're the Raiders. And just Antonio Pierce is probably got an agent now, like a Hollywood agent or a sports agent, to get him out to build a better brand. Because let's be honest, guys, you only got a finite period of time to build a brand in the NFL as a player. Well, imagine that even for Antonio Pierce as an interim head coach who's become our head coach. Do we know the official length of his contract yet? I do not know. But he's building a brand, and so now everything is being done public. And sometimes that sours me, just me personally, maybe not you, but I'm like, ugh, more me. This is my story. I'm like, we already know, we love you, AP. But again, it's a way to distract from the issues of Cliff Kingsbury and some of the other stuff. So I'm not going to fault him. But again, we were questioning, the cigars and the yelling Raiders, at the press conference when they hired the new GM. And again, when you brand yourself so big, if it goes downhill, you got to remember, you made the branding and you made your public persona so big that it's going to fall on you quicker if things sour, and it's going to fall on you as big as the branding you made it. They prop you up to watch you fail. And that's why I have some issues with this. And I don't understand the timing. I mean, maybe right before the draft, or something like that. But it's like right when all eyes are on, the Super Bowl and the Raiders. And again, it just felt a little, not saying it's fake, just felt a little like, oh, this is my opportunity. Let's do it. Let's shut everybody up about Cliff Kingsbury. And I don't really have issues with it. I love the letter. I love the thought process of it. So, I mean, it's all good. And now that I was talking a little bit, I thought about a quote that he wrote in the letter. And he talked about the draft. And he said something like, and I'm paraphrasing, he goes, we're going into this year's draft or something, and, we don't want just regular players that are going to either wear chains or whatever. We want Raiders. And then he went on to say there's only going to be about 4 or 5 players that fit that mold. And, they want Raiders. They want people to come in and be Raiders from the get-go. Have that Raider mentality, that Raider spirit, and, just not go by the emotions or the fly by the sheet where I just want to be in the NFL. You want to be in the NFL and you want to be a Raider. And I love that. But again, when I read things, I'm like, oh, why did you say that? And we're going to talk about Mark Davis and what he said, how he might be memed in the future from the media machine in the future. But Antonio Pierce said there's only going to be 4 or 5 people in the draft that I want. He said something to that effect. There's only going to be 4 or 5 players in the actual draft that I want and that I know will be Raiders. Well, we might have 7 or 8 or 9 draft picks. Now you just basically, you said to the other 3, there's only going to be 4 or 5 that I actually want or that are deserving to be a Raider. Are the draft picks going to question whether they're one of the 4 or 5 that you want or that deserve to be a Raider? When I read that, I was like, ooh. We're probably going to have 7 or 8 or 9 draft picks. It's just something that just made me laugh, guys. Because sometimes quotes can bite you in the butt, stuff like that. But long story short, man, the letter was really cool. He said he wants to build a team of Max Crosby's, Josh Jacobs's, Devontae Adams. But there's still a lot of questioning behind Josh Jacobs returning to the team. And who knows what's going to happen with Devontae Adams. But you guys go out and watch, or go out and read that letter. Link will hopefully be down below, or it's on my Twitter. And let me know your thoughts of it. And at the end of the day, let me be honest with you guys. I effed with it. I loved it. I loved everything he said. I actually irked up and I was like, yeah, let's go, Antonio, when I read a few things. And it really was really good. Whether I had an issue with the timing, the media machine branding, some of the quotes, it doesn't matter. Because we all understand it and we all feel it. So, I'm going to let it go. But I just hope it doesn't get old, this process and stuff like that. I have fears, that, like I said, they prop you up and then they tear you down. And that seems to be a lot in the Raiders lore. But man, I'm excited. And if that's what he's trying to do, he's getting us excited. I kind of would have preferred this around the draft, not around the Super Bowl, because I just get even sadder to think about the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But this is the right moment to get people to stop talking about the Chiefs and the 49ers and the Cliff Kingsbury. And this is the right moment to get paid focus on attention on Antonio Pierce and the Raiders as a whole. And now another flub, in my opinion, from Mark Davis. And before people, hopefully you listen to this, because people seem to not listen to my words, and they just read titles and they assume something, and they're like, oh, you didn't like him? You didn't like his letter? Huh? Watch the video, you moron. Stop reading the headlines. Headlines are to hopefully get views. And stop assuming a headline means something that it doesn't. I don't know what the headline of this video will be. It'll be like, anybody got issues with Antonio Pierce's letter? Or did Antonio Pierce's letter do the right job? Or Mark Davis flubs? I don't know what it'll be. I'm trying to make a few dollars. But, yeah, so Mark Davis, in my opinion, had a flub. He was doing an interview with somebody, and we all know it was sarcastic. It was sarcasm what Mark Davis said. I posted the video on my Twitter or the retweet or whatever, and Mark Davis says, oh, yeah, I'm so happy that the 49ers and Chiefs are in the Super Bowl in our home, because everybody knows that the Chiefs and the 49ers are my favorite teams, besides the Raiders. So here's my reaction when I watched that video at the end of his statement. What the fuck? Mark, come on, Mark. I know it was sarcasm, Mark. I know. I get it. I understand the joke. Because they're your worst teams that you hate. That's why you made it a joke and said they're your favorite teams. I get it. Sarcasm. I understand sarcasm. But it's not necessary. You're the owner of the Raiders. You never say that. You never give credit to the Chiefs or the 49ers in any aspect. Then on top of that, say it publicly. Even though 95% of the people understand it's sarcasm, it's not good sarcasm coming from an owner of the Raiders. Then you gave them credit. Well, they deserve to be in the Super Bowl. Huh? Now you're giving them credit? So you're memeing us. You're making a meme out of that quote, even though it was sarcasm, and many of us understand it. There's going to be the few idiots and trolls that don't get it and actually believe you. Then, if something happens in the future, they can repost that video footage, and you'll still be saying that you like the Chiefs and the 49ers. You're our owner. You don't say that publicly. I'm a Raider fan. I'm a Raider video maker. I would even have never said that. Never. Ever, 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 ever. Never. Never. Well, I can't say never, ever, ever. Never-ending quotes from Mark Davis that sucked and their sarcasm, but they shucked the never-ending quotes from Mark Davis that shucked. I mean, you got to have a wherewithal, Mark Davis. Again, and then people on the forums, it's sarcasm. Does anybody know sarcasm? It's just a joke. It's just a joke. All right, for a man that has had many, many struggles within the organization and from the fan base, it was bad. It was really, really bad. Okay? I don't care whether you think it's sarcasm or not. It was bad. It was wrong. It was stupid. We're going to be memed forever. And then on top of that, he gave them credit after. So, kind of felt like when they asked Josh McDaniels about the ring around the rosy play from the Chiefs on our field, where they did the ring around the rosy and then scored a touchdown on 5 different plays. Josh McDaniels was asked in the press conference, hey, do you think the Chiefs did anything disrespectful on that play to you guys? And Josh McDaniels, no, that wasn't disrespectful. No, it was a good play. You ain't got that Raider spirit. You don't understand. That was disrespect. That was revenge for John Gruden doing the lap. That's why it was the ring around the rosy on our field. We did it in their parking lot. They did it to us on our field. But we got the last laugh. We beat the Super Bowl team this year. So we'll leave it at that. But Mark Davis, that's how it felt to me when I heard that quote from you. It was ridiculous, and it was wrong, and it was bad. Okay? So, I understand it was sarcasm. I'm going to leave it at that. But what the fuck, Mark? What the fuck, Mark? Come on. Now, in another little bit of interesting news, since they're doing media rounds, Aiden O'Connell and Jacoby Myers are doing interviews on Pro Football Talk, and they're representatives of Bounty, the quicker, thicker, picker-upper. And they're wearing Bounty jackets that have the letter B, and they were doing interviews and stuff like that representing Bounty. You know, Bounty that picks up dirt and trash. But why are they doing these interviews? Well, let's be honest. I mean, Aiden O'Connell deserves to make some extra money from having a brand or being an ambassador to a brand. Because, again, who knows if he'll be our starting quarterback next year. That being said, that's what's going on. Oh, the Antonio Pierce letter was also a way. Sorry, guys, I keep going back and remembering things that I wanted to say. The Antonio Pierce letter was also a way to get Raider Nation to stop calling out Luke Getsy as well, our new offensive coordinator. Again, a lot of feedback was negative toward a lot of the situations, and that's why, in my opinion, the letter was also published, to get people to stop talking about that. And then in the letter, or I think it was an interview maybe that I saw, but Antonio Pierce was asked something about, the Cliff Kingsbury situation and, how that all went down and what really happened. And Antonio Pierce said, we ain't going to talk about people that are not Raiders. That was a little bit of shade, and I love that, Antonio Pierce. That was fantastic. He said, we ain't going to talk about people that are not Raiders. Luke Getsy's a Raider, guys. So let's get behind him, even though we might still have some issues. And is Justin Fields going to be our quarterback? Now back to Aiden O'Connell. Aiden O'Connell might not be our quarterback next year, so he's doing interviews, getting paid probably a nice little penny to do Bounty, the thicker picker-upper interviews, and promote their stuff, as well as Jacoby Myers. But I'm like, couldn't we get somebody bigger than Bounty? A company that picks up dirt? My thought process. But more importantly, the players are having a good time. They're celebrating. Antonio Pierce is trying to build up the Raider lore, the legacy, the excitement. And it's looking like it's going to be a fun, interesting year, guys. And I'm very, very thankful, guys, just to be alive, but also to have this type of excitement going into this year. And again, Super Bowl or bust, playoffs or bust is my mentality. But yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes. But unfortunately, I'm always sometimes a half glass empty person which unfortunately I'm trying to change that type of thought process, and it's really hard to do. So I hope that things don't go bad or any worse, because we deserve some good stuff. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's 30-minute talk on the Raiders. Let me know your thoughts on the Mark Davis situation, the Super Bowl in our house, the Antonio Pierce letter, and anything I talked about down below. But do it with empathy and respect. I mean, if you're going to critique me or get mad at me for something I said, just a reminder, I'm a good person and I'm a Raider fan, and it ain't worth it for you to be that mad. So just do it with a little bit of empathy, love, and respect, and kind words if you can. That's all I'm trying to say. Try to be a better human being every day, not only for you, but for your family, for your friends, for the nation. I'm Mikey Raider. Hopefully this video finds you happy, healthy, and blessed. And yeah, go Raiders. I'm excited. And who do I got winning the Super Bowl, in case you guys want to know? I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I just want to see all the Super Bowl Illuminati halftime shows and the symbolism. There's going to be a lot of red symbolism. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to decode it soon on my other channel. I love you guys, Raider Nation. You're awesome.